Amy Roloff, star of season 25 of Little People, Big World, dealt with the death of her incredibly loving spouse. Does she feel the same way about him? Star of Little People, Big World Amy Roloff has seen a great lot of adversity in her life, including a dramatic divorce from Matt Roloff. It's probable that she still has feelings for her former partner. Amy appears to be experiencing emotional conflict when associating with Matt and his new fiancée, Caryn Chandler, even though she has moved on from Chris Marek. Amy's heart was broken by Matt. Did it ever truly mend? She desired to be his wife indefinitely. She's got a new boyfriend now, but the shadow of the past is still there. Amy could still be in pain and wishing that things had gone differently in her life. She could say Caryn ruined it. Season 25 star of Little People, Big World. Since Amy's life hasn't always been easy, it's only reasonable that she experiences moments of bitterness and jealousy. On screen, though, it seems like Caryn is suffering more than she ought to from Matt's engagement. On August 28, 2021, Amy wed Chris, and it appears that she ought to be over Matt, but it's obvious that she's really uncomfortable talking to Caryn. Amy is definitely plagued by the initial impression of Matt and Amy's connection being dubious. Amy longed to stay with Matt forever since she loved him so much. Caryn destroyed her entire existence. Matt Roloff went through a very distressing and difficult-to-watch health issue during the Little People, Big World Season 25. His excruciating headache was an indication of something more serious. The shunt that was placed in his skull to relieve pressure wasn't functioning properly, therefore he required surgery. But the drama was even greater. As Amy processed the news of Matt's decision to ask Caryn to marry him, he and Caryn informed her that they intended to leave Amy whatever portion of the property they owned when they died. Although Amy's comment, "Okay, let's see the ring," may have been intended to ease the pain of hearing of the engagement, it was actually a very depressing moment. It was evident that she was struggling to bear the stress and anguish she felt about Matt and Caryn's engagement. She claimed to go above and above to treat Caryn with kindness. Given how much she feels that Caryn betrayed her, that must take a lot of work. Prior to her relationship with Matt, Caryn worked at Roloff Farms. It is said that Amy was deeply offended when she discovered lewd text between the two. Everything about it was painful and vile. After 28 years of marriage, Amy and Matt's union terminated in 2015. It is evident that Matt fell deeply in love with Caryn. Although Amy is a wonderful lady, it would take a saint for her to not be resentful of Caryn. The second lady caused chaos. Amy has acknowledged that she will never be Caryn's friend, but Matt is the main force behind this. That was him and Amy in a married relationship. However, Caryn knew just how married Matt was. Consequently, both are at fault. People fall in love, things happen, and occasionally, the consequences of falling in love can be severe. Amy's marriage was broken because of Matt's passion for Caryn, whose motivations are frequently called into doubt. Naturally, Matt ought to end his marriage to a lady he doesn't love, especially if he has feelings for someone else. But Amy suffered a terrible fate at the hands of Matt and Caryn. Can you imagine Amy's reaction upon discovering those hidden communications? It has got to be excruciating torture. In addition to having to deal with Caryn on occasion, Amy has had to confront some difficult facts concerning Matt. Amy wouldn't have to be nice to Matt's companion, and life would definitely be more enjoyable. With great bravery, Amy fulfills her obligations, mostly for her kids. Amy may still harbor feelings for Matt, but she had the bravery to let go of him. Amy is an inspiration to see how tough she is and how much she has accomplished in spite of many obstacles, including her dwarfism. Not everyone treats small people with kindness. Amy did, however, earn a degree in business. Additionally, Amy spent years working with Matt at Roloff Farms, trying her best to win over a guy who was frequently tense and challenging. Matt argues that he has endured agony his whole life. He has greater health problems than Amy due to his type of dwarfism. A person's mood will suffer from chronic pain. There's a lot to deal with. Amy is a wonderful cook and a devoted mother. Her pumpkin salsa is a favorite. A devoted wife, she was. Matt and she met at a small people's convention. The same year, they were married. Amy must have thought that was straight out of a fairy tale. Virgo, the pragmatic Matt, who is a Libra, may have become bored with Amy since she wasn't romantic enough. Maybe there was just no chemistry between Matt and Amy. Amy, on the other hand, was unaware of Matt's extreme discontent. He caught her off guard. When all the hardship and suffering Amy has been through is taken into account, she is actually quite kind, despite her occasional grumpiness and bossiness. There's something admirable in her attempts to handle everything. Maybe Amy's goodwill isn't worth Matt and Amy's. It's possible that they won't recognize all of her beauty. Hopefully, viewers and Chris Marek of Little People, Big World do as well. Amy might not even be receiving the whole truth from Matt and Caryn regarding their intentions to sell the land. Matt had promised his boys that one day they will be able to take over the property. Matt, however, sold them out. He was able to harm Amy in the same way. Even before Caryn entered the picture and put the last nail in Matt and Amy's coffin, their marriage was far from ideal. Matt was more vulnerable to an affair because they already had issues. Amy felt like Matt cut her down a lot. It seems as though he had no real regard for his wife, who is the mother of his kids. But there's no valid excuse for not honoring Amy. Amy is a decent person. Amy made an effort to be a good mother and make Matt happy. She continues to act in such manner. It must be hard for her to try to be cordial with Caryn. Zach had a recent health problem, and she supported him through it. Matt wasn't present. It's Amy who maintains order. Matt seems more hostile, though maybe he should be more cautious. He seems content with Caryn. Amy ought to use caution as well. After becoming well-known, these two little individuals found themselves paired with average-sized grown-ups who fell in love with them. It's conceivable Amy and Matt are being taken advantage of. Rich, famous, and powerful are Amy and Matt. It could have been more sincere and genuine when Amy and Matt fell in love. Matt could regret leaving Amy and having such high hopes for Caryn in the future. There is also a chance that he will be content in a covertly transactional partnership. Can these average-sized individuals truly love their partners who are little people? They might not, but it's feasible since there is a great deal of doubt over their intentions. For their own benefit, they might be able to pass for someone else in the future. While not truly in love, they could nevertheless be fond of their relationships. Beyond Caryn and Chris really liking their significant ones, there are several additional alternatives. Matt tried to claim inventorship of a recipe for pumpkin salsa that Amy came up with, which they eventually sold as one of the farm's products. Most likely, a loving husband wouldn't act in such a way. One can only wonder why Matt felt the need to take credit for his wife's inventiveness, possibly a sense of danger from others' success. It was a grave warning and a red flag, the pumpkin salsa drama. Amy has maintained her popular profile in the modern day because to her culinary abilities. Her recipe book is her own. Thus, Amy was able to get beyond Matt's negativity and impediment once again. During a different occasion, Matt believed that Amy made a mistake by selecting a dude ranch as their getaway location. As a result, he departed early and caused pain to his wife. Sure, maybe it wasn't the best decision for him to live at the dude ranch. That he couldn't enjoy himself there because of his mobility issues was likely a valid concern. Nevertheless, he was indifferent to Amy's emotions. Both then and now, he has a tendency towards selfishness. For this reason, Matt and Zach are at odds. After the farm sale, his son feels as though he has burnt him. Apparently, Amy had lost a man who was not truly in love with her. It's not as much of a loss as it looks, but she spent decades and had children with this man. She had naturally assumed he loved her. After all, why wouldn't she? It must have hurt so much to accept that all Matt wanted was to be rid of her, and it still hurts. She has reason to feel sorry for herself if she is in love with Matt, since he is not. It's not going to happen again. Maybe Matt changed, or maybe he was never truly in love with Amy, as Austin Powers famously remarked. That train has sailed. Perhaps he was always acting, much like one of those eerie men in movies about shockingly obvious and covert romance. Amy recalls Matt's earlier, more innocent days, which presents a challenge. Her missing thing is that she could fail to notice it every time. Although Matt seems like a good man, he has a history of grave errors in judgment. It's possible that many individuals are unaware of Matt's past cocaine addiction. Many individuals struggle with addiction. Fortunately, Matt, who was frequently patronizing, was able to kick the substance. His prior cocaine addiction, though, reveals a daring side. He was also detained once on suspicion of driving while intoxicated. Maybe Amy did like Matt's bad boy qualities after all. Many women find it enjoyable to be in the company of overconfident, bad-acting males. Some women, for instance, write letters to inmates who have been found guilty of heinous crimes. Though it's conceivable that Matt's bad boy characteristics aren't the reason she misses him, it's still feasible that Matt gave her the thrill she's been longing for. While Amy is with Matt and Caryn, she appears dejected. That cannot be disputed. Her obvious signs of stress are evident. Amy has acknowledged that the conversations are uncomfortable and hurtful. It feels like she is fighting an unending war. It must be mental anguish if she still loves Matt. Perhaps Matt isn't picking up on these cues. He could be able to sense his ex-wife's suffering. He may have proposed to leave the property to her for that reason. Amy can have feelings for both Matt and Chris. Individuals are complex. Amy will occasionally reflect on the past even though Chris is a wonderful spouse who makes her feel secure and cherished. She will undoubtedly draw comparisons between her present and former partners. Amy could feel, deep down, that her relationship with Matt was more significant. Currently, Matt and Caryn are creating their ideal house on TV in Season 25 of Little People, Big World. It appears that it will be an exquisite rancher without stairs. For a little individual, it's the ideal house. He won't, however, give it to Amy or any other small person. Matt will share it with a typical-sized woman instead. What if Amy could tell Matt about all these significant life events that she is unable to? Would the house belong to Matt and Amy if Caryn hadn't worked at Roloff Farms? There is a lot to consider.